Hello everyone, Ace here, and today we're going to be talking yet again about Jim Sterling, and about the latest Jimquisition, titled Hogwarts, A Legacy of Hate. A video that I'm sure everyone was expecting Jim Sterling to make. What I, at least, however, did not expect was that this video was going to be more evidence that Jim Sterling does not respect concepts such as individual consent. Now, on the surface, this may appear to be a bold claim, though I must ask what other conclusion one can possibly come to when Jim Sterling claims it is transphobic for the BBC to publish an article detailing how lesbian women are being pressured into intercourse for which they would otherwise not consent, and the pressure that they are facing to engage in this act of intercourse against their consent comes from the fact that the potential partner in question is trans, and refusing consent to a trans person in this day and age runs the risk of having you labeled as a transphobe and a bigot. And make no mistake, Jim Sterling does indeed take up the position that the BBC is transphobic for publishing that article. And in this latest Jimquisition, Jim Sterling does this first by posting an article from them trying to condemn the BBC article, and then later on directly cites the BBC article as evidence that journalists engage in fear-mongering against trans people specifically. But don't take my word for it, here are the clips in question for you to see for yourself.
Scarier because of the right-wingers calling us all groomers and engaging in violence against us. Scarier because of the GOP and Tories scapegoating us and legislating our rights away with increased ferocity. Scarier because of media outlets like the BBC engaging in transphobia as a matter of policy. Scarier because of the people we're demonized in the press with extremely disproportionate coverage, and wealthy, powerful people like JKR can't stop thinking about us.
So yes, as you can see, Jim Sterling did indeed make the argument that the BBC is transphobic for daring to publish an article that is against rape. An article that far leftists will try to pretend has zero basis, as according to the far leftists, there is no movement pushing people into intercourse against their consent. Except that is a blatant and demonstrable lie, as demonstrated very cleanly by the super straight controversy, in which far leftists claim that being super straight, super gay, super lesbian, or super bi made you a bigot. In fact, the super straight controversy so thoroughly damns the ideologies of the far left that activists have since resorted to trying to push a conspiracy theory that super straight was invented exclusively by 4chan. In reality, super straight was created by a TikTok user known as Kyle Royce, who was tired of being labeled as a bigot for daring to refuse consent to trans people, and who, by the way, faced harassment for daring to create super straight as a new sexual orientation. For those who want further proof, I can also provide the numerous examples of far leftists who constantly made the argument that anyone who was against rape in the name of diversity was an evil fascist. As yet more proof that Marxism is an ideology of rape and that Marxists are all rape lovers, and they all deserve to be criticized as such. I could even point to examples of Marxist academic literature such as Mario Miele's Towards a Gay Communism, which openly advocates for pedophilia in the name of creating revolutionaries. And yes, here is Miele himself making that argument. In fact, I can even point to examples as far back as Marx himself, who in his book on the Jewish question argued that individualism and individual rights were tools of the bourgeoisie used to oppress the proletariat. And here's the thing, if you're going to argue that individualism and individual rights are your ideological enemies, then by extension you are making the argument that concepts built upon individualism and individual rights, such as the individual right to refuse consent, are also your ideological enemies. And yes, I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I need to make this point absolutely clear. Jim Sterling is not a rape lover because Jim Sterling is trans non-binary. Instead, Jim Sterling is a rape lover because Jim Sterling is a Marxist. And ultimately, when talking about the fact that Jim Sterling is a rape lover, or that far leftists in general are rape lovers, it is all the more necessary to highlight the fact that this is a problem with the ideology, as otherwise someone as immoral as Jim Sterling would happily use trans people as a shield and cannon fodder to deflect from any and all criticism, like the little parasite that Jim Sterling actually is towards the trans community. Because at the end of the day, Jim Sterling and Jim Sterling's fellow activists are the greatest threat to the trans community at this time, despite claiming falsely to be their greatest heroes. A fact that has been highlighted by journalists such as Sophia Narwitz, some of whose work I will be leaving in the description below, along with, of course, archives of the articles that I have shown in this video, so you can check them out for yourself if you should so desire. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.